of India by Justice Ratnavel Pandian, Gaurajan versus Government of India. The girls are being indulged into prostitution forcibly, social,
all right, let me bring in Mrs. Sudha Ramalingam. Ma'am, you heard Mr. Jebaraj here, of course, he's rattling off case laws. The inability to curb something shouldn't be an argument against it. You cannot really bring down the rate of murders and rapes, so you do go around legalizing all this.
See, it's not a question of legalizing prostitution. It's a question of also thinking about the practicality of everything. Is it pragmatic enough? Is it possible to really do away with prostitution? In an age and era when people are getting married very late, there is anonymity, there is so much of migration, there is a need also for this, and it has been a trade which has been there from since time immemorial. So it is not something which can be really done away with. And as Mr. Jebaraj also rightly put it, prostitution per se is not a crime even as on date. So what is it that we are talking about? Talking about institutionalization of this or approving them and giving them a license.
What is the effect? We are talking about cases which may be stray cases, but they are alarming in a sense. A nurse actually functioning as a pimp. We know that there are women who are promised jobs as maids but get forced into the flesh trade.
That's why I'm telling you, Sanjay, the whole problem is insofar as it is going to be done stealthily, there would definitely be pimps and other promoters who are going to capitalize on these victims. If it is going to be licensed, then they could per se come out with their trade or avocation and also go for proper medical checkup. You just
that's an interesting point. I'm sorry to interrupt. I mean, proper medical checkup. This is the key point here, because how can you actually, without legalizing prostitution, how can you then force them to undergo medical checks if you don't acknowledge the profession?
See, medical check, mandatory medical examination provision is available in Immoral Traffic Prevention Act 15(5)(a). See, all the prostitutes are victims of trafficking. No, it is the prostitution is a vicious circle. Nobody can enter easily into the circle. For example, I want to purchase sex. I am going to somewhere, Madurai or somewhere. I don't have any access. If I want to purchase sex, I have to approach somebody. I have to get a girl from some other pimps and brokers. So, for a purchaser, for a client, without pimps and broker, without other person, I cannot have a sex with a prostitute, right? So, how a female person can enter into prostitution very easily? Somebody should procure
That's contentious. Ma'am, do you want to join issue with him there? He says it's not so easy to actually enter, but then it's so easy to be trapped.
I'm sorry to tell this. See, it is all these things that you're talking about is only when you're not licensing this that the woman becomes a victim at the hands of the brokers or at the hands of the pimps or the brothel owners. So what really happens is if you start licensing it, people who do have a will to do this could definitely go and practice it openly, and they would also be protected. Both the victim also gets medical aid, so also the client, the customer also can seek for proper medical protection and also seek for certain mandatory provisions where he would also be opting for a safe sex. The entire thing of the clandestine activity as far as this business is concerned is promoting victimization of women and exploitation.
But then if you talk of victimization now, if you legalize it now, parents could push their daughters out of poverty or due to greed into prostitution. I mean, this will only legitimize this practice.
I'm sorry, Sanjay, it's so naive to say that if you're going to license something, parents will push them to these activities. I'm definite parents are not going to push anyone, and at any rate, girls these days are really intelligent. They are not going to make choices without their consent. And
Mr. Jebaraj, I mean,
they know what is right and what is wrong.
Would you agree? Because
no. See, legalization means...
No, we are talking specifically of people parents pushing their own children into this.
Yeah, definitely.
It's happening.
See, yes, it's happening.
How rampant is it?
Recently in Coimbatore, fifth class student was indulged into prostitution by their parents.
For what reason? Poverty?
Poverty or any other reason. And in Ramnad, the parent themselves indulge into prostitution.
All right. Yes, ma'am.
What you need is poverty alleviation programs. Also give equip these girls with more knowledge about what is happening. And I'm definite it is not merely poverty which makes people to go to such levels of pushing their children into something. There's something more than that. There must be some psychological problem for these parents also.
That's a valid point, because sometimes even poverty forces people to part with their vital organs also. So it's poverty makes people do strange things.
Poverty is the induction agent. Poverty is the induction agent that procurers and the traffickers misusing the vulnerability and indulge into prostitution. And legalization means you want to commercialize the women.
No, let me, I mean, since you are in the field, let me throw this book at you. It's called the International Sex and Red Light Guide, and I quote from this book. It says, if one chooses to use her body instead of slavery, and men are willing to pay more than slave labor wages, if it's not your body, if it's not your life, it is not your business. It is not your business, Mr. Jayaprakash. I put this to you.
No, not like that. See, prostitution is not a business. It is not a work. See,
what is it then if it's not a business today?
It is an exploitative status of a woman. So, if business or work without exploitation is a work.
Prostitution without exploitation is an oxymoron, sir.
So, prostitution without exploitation is not at all possible.
Yeah,
and
so
how do you say it is a work, and how many people will choose that, how many girls will choose that as a work?
Ma'am, also pedophiles like the likes of Will Humes of the world will have a free run, because we are told, according to statistics, that 25% of commercial sex workers are minors.
Yes, Sanjay, that's the reason why I say if it is licensed, we can monitor. One. Secondly, this is something which is not new. There are biblical references about prostitutes. You have the famous quote of Jesus saying, if you want to throw a stone at a prostitute, let a person who is not indulged in any wrong go and stone. There was nobody to stone her. See, this is something which has been there since time immemorial, and we should understand that if you are going to license this, I'm not saying legalize, make everybody prostitutes. What I'm trying to tell is licenses so that there will be a regulation, there will be no exploitation, there will be medical and insurance facilities for these victims, and the customers too could be protected against HIV/AIDS.
Ma'am, but don't you agree, ma'am, that women are victims in this case? Women are victims, and anyone who profits from their exploitation deserves to be punished, ma'am. Because we are also told that even the commercial sex workers get only about 1/10 of the actual fee. And you need to have commercial sex workers as partners in the fight against AIDS today.
You're right, Sanjay. What I'm telling you is, if it is licensed, you cannot have this exploitation. What I'm trying to tell is so that there will be no middleman in this trade. So that the woman who is, whether you call her a victim, whether you call her a person who is indulges in it with choice, really gets the benefits of whatever she is sacrificing, and not be responsible for to somebody else. The pimp earns more than 80%, and this woman gets hardly 10 to 20%. Do you think that should be promoted? I don't think it should be promoted. If you want to stop this, I am definite there should be a licensing of prostitution.
See, in brothel areas, Bombay, Delhi, Calcutta, our networking organization, anti-human trafficking organization, they are running night schools. Because the prostitute in that area, they don't want to put their children into prostitution. They are sending the children to the night school. They don't want the prostitute themselves. They don't want the children in the profession.
So you're saying if you legalize it, you will in a sense perpetuate this illegal trade.
It will increase the trafficking. It will affect our second generation women, girl children.
There's also a school of thought that India is sitting on a HIV time bomb.
Right.
That unless you actually sort of legalize certain things, you cannot force them to undergo these medical checks. I come back to the same point here.
No.
Can you help sex workers if you force their employers to go underground?
No, it is not like that. It is, see, in Chennai, there is no red light area. Right.
Says who?
There is no specific area for.
Yes, ma'am.
Officially there is no, but all of us know it is being practiced everywhere.
Yeah.
It's not merely practiced in particular areas, it's now practiced even in mobile four-wheelers.
Yeah. See, after the UNODC program in Maharashtra, Goa, Delhi and West Bengal, the number of cases, even in Tamil Nadu also, the number of cases booked under 8B is very, very less. They are focusing on the traffickers. The law is excellent. See, in Andhra Pradesh, they have closed some 16 hotel licenses. If a license is cancelled by a district magistrate, there is no set aside, there is no appeal, there is no stay. In Tamil Nadu, the SP of Salem attached 3 properties of the trafficker. So these are all the stringent area of the act. If the act is properly used by the law enforcement agency, police and judiciary and the NGOs.
We know it's not being effectively used, sir.
So
we know it's not being effectively used. Why pretend that it's being used?
Yeah, not effectively used.
This is an ostrich tendency that we are all caught up in. Yes, ma'am.
I'm definite, Sanjay, just by closing a few lodges, prostitution would, if you're going to say that prostitution will be done away with, we are too naive and innocent.
That's a band-aid solution, perhaps.
Moving from one place to another.
In Andhra Pradesh, convictions are coming up. 10 years, 15 years, convictions are coming up for the pimps and
let's
brokers.
talk about Chennai, sir. The pimps are coming out in a couple of months on bail, sir.
That is the thing is the NGO coordination between NGO, police, judiciary and the state, even with the corporate, it should be very need in Chennai and Tamil Nadu.
Right, ma'am, just to flip this on its head, isn't this a form of bonded labor really? Because the recent survey has indicated that it takes up to 15 years for a girl to buy her freedom. A girl who's forced into this trade without her knowledge sometimes.
Sanjay, that's precisely the reason why I keep on repeating and telling you, if it is licensed, there can be no bonded labor. If there is if it is licensed, there cannot be anyone exploiting a woman and taking her away. After all of us know and understand this is a profession which is needed in society for various sociological reasons.
To the male chauvinism
people. To the male, yes.
If exploitative tendency male is there, they need the women to be exploited, isn't it? So the client should be punished.
Absolutely.
She's saying if you legalize it, you will end exploitation.
So no, that is it will really increase the trafficking.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry. I'm
yes,
sorry,
please
it
go
will
ahead.
not increase trafficking.
The
trafficking is different from prostitution per se. Trafficking would definitely be decreased or could even be done away with if you are going to license this trade. See, after all of us know that it is not possible to do away with prostitution for various sociological reasons. Whether we like it or not, there are biological compulsions, there are other compulsions which make this trade a flourishing one. And if you are going to ensure that these women can practice independently with license, with medical support, with insurance, with all coverage possible, then it could be done with independent knowledge of whatever they do. It would be an informed consent of the woman, and it will not be a sort of a slavery or taking away.
All right, you're saying you will root out the element of coercion here. Well, point taken, ma'am. That's an important point you're making. But when you say legalize,
coercion and trafficking.
Yes, ma'am. When you say legalize, what exactly do you mean at a practical level, ma'am? Do you mean a commercial sex worker can open a brothel anywhere, like a clinic, and advertise? Is it okay if it's in our neighborhood? Is it okay for our children to be playing close to these places?
I'm sorry, Sanjay, even an advocate cannot advertise. It's not as if every profession can be advertised. So how could you talk about it? You don't go and advertise this, but you license certain things. There are certain areas where you could do things in silence, and you can't have a liquor shop everywhere. It's not open for the state to give license to a liquor shop in the vicinity of a temple or in a residential neighborhood. So if I say that you license this, it doesn't mean you're throwing it open to everyone and you're going to attract young children or others.
Ma'am, also, I mean, we know that there are several, if you go look at certain newspapers, there are several advertisements which very subtly actually peddle sleaze, the so-called massage parlors and all that. Many of them have come under the scanner.
Yes, massage parlors, most of the massage parlors are the same prostitution is going on. See, legalization
That's
is
why I'm telling
not
you
a
that-
solution. See, our children are being trafficked and exploited in the brothel houses. Is it okay? How we can say our children are being exploited?